He enters history like a shadow, cutting across a dying empire, quiet, disciplined, unbreakable. A man who should have been forgotten, lost in the chaos of collapsing borders, plague, and political treachery. Yet he becomes the sword of a desperate emperor, a commander whose victories seem impossible, whose loyalty borders on madness, and whose legend still echoes with the question that haunts the ruins of Rome itself. Was Belisarius the last great Roman general? To understand the scale of what he achieved, you must imagine the world he inherited. By the early 6th century, Rome, once master of the known world, was reduced to a brittle remnant in Constantinople. Its western half had fractured into kingdoms of warlords and forgotten provinces. Its armies were weak, its treasury stretched thin, its enemies, old and new, pressed like wolves, circling a wounded beast. And at the center of this fragile world sat Emperor Justinian, man with the ambition of Caesar, but the resources of a dying empire. He dreamed of reclaiming all that Rome had lost, of restoring its old borders, its old glory, its old fearsome name. But such dreams required more than law codes and gold. They required a sword. And that sword would be He was young when Justinian first noticed him, but already the soldiers whispered his name with the kind of respect given to men who do the impossible. Calm under pressure, unshakable in battle, able to read an enemy's mind with terrifying clarity. He became the emperor's chosen commander, the man entrusted with the defense of the empire's most vulnerable frontier. And that frontier was Persia. The first great test came on a field near Dara, a bleak landscape between empires where dust and death mixed in the air. The Persian army marched toward the Roman lines, fierce, disciplined, deadly. Persia had been Rome's eternal rival for centuries, and its generals were masters of war. But Belisarius did something no one expected. Instead of meeting them head-on, he turned the battlefield itself into a weapon. He dug concealed trenches, shaped the earth, and arranged his troops in ways the Persians couldn't predict. As the enemy charged, their cavalry crashed into traps. Their formations broke, their momentum evaporated. Then Belisarius struck swift, precise, devastating. The Persians were shattered. The impossible had happened. Rome had defeated Persia, and the young general had earned the emperor's full trust. But this victory was only the spark that lit the fire. Justinian wanted more. He saw Belisarius not merely as a defender of borders, but as a conqueror who could take back everything Rome had lost. And so the next target was chosen, the wealthy, rebellious, ancient kingdom of the Vandals in North Africa. A kingdom so confident, so secure in its supremacy, that it believed Rome could never touch it again. They were wrong. Belisarius sailed with a small force, too small, according to every advisor, every minister, every veteran officer. A doomed expedition, they said. A foolish dream. But Belisarius understood something they did not. Victory did not always belong to the largest army, but to the clearest mind. When he landed in Africa, the Vandals barely reacted. Their king was distracted, their army divided, their confidence absolute. They never saw the storm coming. Belisarius struck with speed that defied logic. He captured Carthage, the great Vandal capital, before they even grasped the scale of danger. When the Vandal king finally gathered his forces to meet him in open battle, Belisarius crushed them so completely, so decisively, that the Vandal kingdom, once a dominant Mediterranean power, vanished from the map in a single campaign. In Constantinople, Justinian's court celebrated. Rome had regained Africa. The emperor's dream of restoration felt suddenly real, and the name of Belisarius spread like fire through the empire. But with fame came something more dangerous. Jealousy. In Justinian's palace, ambition was a venom. High-ranking officials, powerful generals, and even the Empress Theodora watched Belisarius' rise with uneasy eyes. He was too successful, too admired, too heroic. And in a world where loyalty was valued but suspicion ruled, Belisarius began to walk a narrowing path between glory and destruction. Yet Justinian had another target in mind, another jewel of the lost Western Empire. Italy, the heartland of Rome itself. It was now ruled by the Ostrogoths, powerful Germanic warriors who had carved out a stable kingdom on the ruins of the ancient world. Taking Italy would be nothing like Africa. Italy was vast, The Goths were strong, and the task was monumental. But Justinian wanted Rome back, and so he sent Belisarius. The campaign began with storms, dangers, and sleepless nights at sea. But when Belisarius reached Sicily, he found the Goths cautious, hesitant. He took the island quickly, then moved north, crossing into the Italian mainland, and soon he arrived at the gates of Napalsa city, fiercely determined to resist. The siege became a tense, brutal standstill. Negotiations failed, food dwindled. The defenders held their ground with desperate courage, and then, by chance or fate, Belisarius's men discovered an ancient aqueduct leading beneath the city. He faced a terrible choice: use it to infiltrate Naples, risking chaos and slaughter, or abandon the siege. With a heavy heart, he made his decision. Roman troops crawled through the darkness, emerged inside the city, and the gates fell. Naples surrendered. The road to Rome lay open. When Belisarius entered the ancient capital, something extraordinary happened. The people who had lived under foreign rule for generations, they welcomed him as a liberator, a restorer of the ancient glory of Rome. For a moment, the city felt alive again, but the Ostrogoths were not finished. They assembled a vast army and laid siege to Rome itself. And here, in the dusty shadows of ancient walls, Belisarius faced perhaps his greatest trial. The siege stretched on for months. Supplies dwindled. Disease spread. The Goths launched assault after assault, battering rams, siege towers, fire, tunnels. Yet every time Belisarius countered them with brilliance, courage, and unbreakable discipline. His outnumbered troops held firm. His strategies turned the city into a fortress. The people watched from rooftops as he fought like a hero of the old Republic, commanding, fearless. And at last, the Goths broke and withdrew. Belisarius had saved Rome, but even victory came with a price. The emperor, far away in Constantinople, began to fear that his general was becoming too popular, too powerful. While Belisarius continued his campaigns, Justinian pulled the strings of distrust, sending conflicting orders, withholding reinforcements, questioning his loyalty. Yet Belisarius obeyed relentlessly. Even when the emperor demanded the impossible, a fuggiton, conquering city after city, dismantling the Gothic kingdom piece by piece. He took Ravenna, the final stronghold, and received an astonishing offer. The Goths, desperate and defeated, offered to make him their king. Belisarius could have taken the crown. He could have founded his own empire. He could have broken free of Justinian's suspicion and ruled Italy himself. But instead, he played along just long enough to secure their surrender, then declared the entire kingdom restored to Justinian. It was a masterstroke of loyalty, a triumph without revenge, a victory unmarred by ambition. But in Constantinople, gratitude was not what awaited him. When Belisarius returned, he found cold glances and sharpened whispers. Enemies at court saw him not as a hero but as a threat. The emperor, influenced by jealous ministers, stripped him of command and sidelined him. The general who had restored half the empire was pushed aside, watched closely, distrusted constantly. Yet he did not rebel. He did not threaten the throne. He simply waited. But the empire still needed him. It always did. When a massive revolt erupted, when enemies stormed the borders, when even the capital trembled in fear, Justinian called upon the one man he could trust in crisis, even if he trusted no one. Belisarius returned to command, not for glory, not for ambition, but because Rome needed him. He defeated enemies, chased down rebels, restored order. And still, when peace returned, the court pushed him aside again. Then came the darkest insult. In his old age, stripped of power, stripped of wealth, nearly forgotten, he was accused of treason, a charge as absurd as it was cruel. They claimed he plotted against the emperor. It was a lie, a political attack, a final attempt to destroy his name. He was imprisoned, humiliated, made to beg for forgiveness he did not owe. And yet, in one of history's rare acts of mercy, Justinian eventually released him. The old general returned to his home, scarred by betrayal but unbroken in spirit. Legend claims he spent his last years blind, sitting by a roadside, begging for coins from passers-by. A story likely untrue, but powerful in its symbolism, for even if he did not suffer that fate, the world remembers him as a man mistreated by the very empire he saved, a commander whose loyalty was greater than the gratitude of his emperor, a hero whose victories rebuilt Rome, while his rewards crumbled like dust. Belisarius died quietly, without ceremony, in a world he had reshaped more than any other man of his age. But the question remains, was he truly the last great Roman general? He fought with a discipline the legions would have admired. He won battles that should have been unwinnable. He restored provinces thought lost forever. He defended Rome itself, and he did it all while standing against not only foreign armies but the treachery of his own court. His story is a tragedy wrapped in triumph, a reminder that greatness does not guarantee gratitude, and loyalty does not guarantee reward. Yet through every betrayal, every challenge, every impossible order, Belisarius remained what the empire needed most: a soldier who fought for Rome, not for himself. In his courage, the old spirit of the legions flickered one last time before history's darkness closed in for good. When we look back on the ruins of ancient cities, the faded mosaics, the broken statues, and the vast silence where legions once marched, we search for the moment the Roman world truly died. Some say it was the fall of the Western Empire in the 5th century. Others say it was the Arab conquests, or the sack of Constantinople centuries later. But perhaps, in another sense, Rome's heartbeat ended when Belisarius laid down his sword, when the last great general, honorable, brilliant, uncorrupted, faded into obscurity. He was the empire's final blade, its last shield, its final echo of greatness.